Hey everyone, so today I thought I would do a palette collection video, and I wanted to share all of my palettes that I have. This is kind of like for me as well, so I can see what I have and what I don't need. Of course, I was on a no buy and I decided to change it to a low buy, and I'll explain that in a different video. But I'm going to go ahead and share the palettes that are in my collection, and I'm going to start from the smallest to the biggest. The first palette that I have is the Urban Decay Aphrodisiac palette, and this is just a really adorable little palette. I actually may make this into my Pan That palette next year just because it's so small and it seems like it might be easy to get through it. The next palette, I wouldn't say this is the smallest of them all, but the next palette is my Urban Decay, I guess the rest of them are all about the same size, but my Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics palette, and this was a kind of impulse purchase. I saw this on Holt Look for sale, and I said I've got to get that. They're discontinuing it, and I love matte palettes just because it's so easy just to slap on a beautiful brown shade to put in your crease, and then you're gone and you're ready to go. I mean, just going with a crease color. So the next palette is I'm gonna go ahead and do my Tarte palettes. Is my Tarte Toasted, which I've only played with one shade out of this palette, and I got this just before I declared that I was going to be doing a no buy, and of course, as you already know, I cut that out and I'm on a low buy. But I haven't played with this yet either, and people say that it smells like something. Mine doesn't have a smell. I can't smell anything on this palette. But I have that. I have my Tarte in Bloom, which I tried to attempt to pan last year, which was a huge failure. I might try to pan it next year. I have a few things I'm really just trying to get through, so I have that one. Also, I have my Milani Bold Obsessions, and this is my Pan That palette this year. I don't know if you can tell, but there are some major dips in some of those shades, and let me know if you all want to update on that. I really like to update when I hit pan on one of these. I'm really close on 2 shades in that palette. The next palette is my Pure Cosmetics palette with BoxyCharm, in collaboration with BoxyCharm. When I did BoxyCharm, I don't do BoxyCharm anymore. I have not even tried any of the shadows from this palette. I haven't played with it, and I haven't even swatched hardly any of the shades, so I don't know how the quality of that palette is, but eventually I do want to rotate it and get it going through and me trying it. The next 2 palettes are my Anastacio palettes. I have the Soft Glam, and I've played with this a few times, and it is absolutely gorgeous. These do have a shelf life of 18 months, so I do this year want to try and focus on hitting pan on at least both of these palettes in a couple shades. I really would hate for them to expire and not be any good before I get any use out of them. But there's that one. And the next palette is this little Wet n Wild. Yeah, this little Wet n Wild. How many is in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pen palette, and this supposedly was a dupe for the Modern Renaissance palette, and the shades are pretty good. There's a couple that just don't perform in it, but I definitely would say if you're interested in the Modern Renaissance and don't have it, I would get this because it definitely is very close. The next palette is my Urban Decay Born to Run palette, and I played with this the other day. I will insert a photo of the look I did using this green shade. I think it's called Wanderlust. Yeah, Wanderlust is such a gorgeous shade. And then I've used this blue shade. I bought this palette because of the beautiful colors, and I'm really happy with it. It's just when I look at it, there's just so much going on that I'm like, I can't think of a look because it's just so much. But I would really like, I don't know, I thought about depotting it and then making quads with some of the shades, but I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't even know how I would depot this palette because it's so heavy duty. And the last two palettes that I have to talk about is my palettes that I got from Tarte, these custom palettes, and I did depot quite a few shadows into these. So I depotted my Milani Pure Passion, my Most Loved Mattes, and 4 Wet n Wild palettes, and I almost got them all in this big palette, and it felt really, really good to condense it down into as many palettes as I got now. Now I am planning on buying a smaller, more square, tiny palette to put just the Wet n Wild shadows that I want to work on in it, and then making quads into that on things I want to hit pan on. But yeah, I love these. These are such good quality palettes. I really recommend them. And then I depotted my ColourPop Semi Precious and my ColourPop Dream Street palette into this one. This is the leopard print ColourPop Tarte palette. But yeah, I depotted my ColourPop shadows into this one, and I had a little leftover from the Wet n Wild shadows that I put in here too. But that is all of my palettes. I'm going to count them real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 palettes now. That's if you want to count all of the shadows that I condensed into those 2 custom palettes. Then that's 12, but I mean, if you really think about it, I had like 21 palettes, and then I condensed them down. So that was my palette collection video. You all probably thought when I done my Shop My Stash that I only had a tiny amount of shadows, but I really have a lot. I just didn't want to take forever showing you all going through what I wanted to use. But yeah, that was my palette collection, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will have an explanation video on why I decided to do a low buy instead of a no buy, and I am going to show you the things that I have bought. Once there's one more thing I'm waiting on coming, I'm going to do a little haul video to show you what I got this month and show you the 2 things that made me break my no buy. So I feel really, really guilty for buying those things. I went into Sephora, and you know what, I'll get into it in a different video. But thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all soon. See ya.